How many times have you set really ambitious wellness goals only to find yourself falling off track, frustrated, and beating yourself up over it? This is something that I'm sure we've all experienced at one point or another, and it's a pattern that I am well familiar with. In today's video, I'm going to share with you a simple 4-step process that I found really helpful for getting back on track with my wellness goals and habits. Let's get it! The first step to getting back on track with your wellness goals is compassionate self-reflection. Let me tell you why. So before you can get back on track with your wellness goals, you have to know where you are right now in this moment. I'm calling this compassionate self-reflection because how you talk to yourself really does matter. If you're being really negative as you're going through this process and really being really hard on yourself and being very critical about what you could have done better, it's going to make the process a lot more challenging than it needs to be. So remember, this is compassionate self-reflection. So you do want to be kind with how you're talking to yourself. I'm going to give you a couple questions that will help you in this reflection process. The first is thinking about what's going well in my wellness journey right now. Counting all the small wins. Literally nothing is off the table. Are you proud of yourself for maybe drinking more water than you did the week before? Are you being proactive about moving more? Are you prioritizing sleep? Currently, just take a minute and really get clear on all of the small wins and all of the things that are going well in your life right now. And go ahead and let me know down in the comments what's one of the small wins that you're celebrating right now. I can't wait to read them and I'm so excited for you. Next, you want to get clear on what goal were you actually working towards? Were you being intentional about the changes that you were making? So get clear on what your goal was before moving into the next step. Once you're clear on the goal that you were working towards, think through what are all of the challenges that got in the way of you completing your goal. Was it a time management issue? Was it you needed more support? Was it procrastination? Just think about what were all of the challenges that made it difficult for you to achieve your goal this time around. And then the last reflection question is this behavior truly a priority right now? So it's totally fine for our priorities to change as time goes on. So what was important to us a couple weeks ago could be different right now. Things are always in flux. The only constant is change. So it is totally fine if your priorities have changed and what you were working on is no longer a priority right now. But it's important to know that at this point before you move forward. The next step for getting back on track with your wellness goals is to simplify and clarify. So when you are re-inspired to focus on your wellness again, you just get so excited that you want to change several things at once. This may sound like, first, I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m., I'm going to intermittent fast, and then I'm going to drink a gallon of water, I'm going to make green smoothies every day, and I'm going vegan. Like, girl, you are doing way too much all at once. What usually happens when we try to change several different things at once, it gets overwhelming and we start dropping the ball everywhere. Like, we're not consistent with anything because we're stretching ourselves too thin and have our focus in way too many places. If this is you, if you are tempted to want to change multiple things at once, I encourage you to focus on just one behavior at a time. Focus in, gain the momentum that you need. When you're doing the behavior consistently, then build from there. But when you are getting back on track, it is so helpful to focus on one behavior at a time. Now that we've simplified, it's time to clarify. What's the one behavior or habit that you want to focus on for the next few weeks? Once you get really clear on this, I want you to think about what's the daily benefit that you're going to get from doing this behavior consistently. I don't want you to think about long-term benefits that you'll get decades from now. I want you to think about your day-to-day experience. How is doing the behavior consistently going to improve your day-to-day life? Focusing on the short-term daily benefits is going to be more motivating and more rewarding than if you were to focus on the long-term benefits that you won't see until years and years from now. Dr. Michelle Segar talks about the research behind why this is effective in her book, No Sweat. It's a really great book. I highly recommend if you are looking for a book that's really focused on motivation as it relates to physical activity. If you're finding this video helpful so far, I would love it if you click the like button so it can be shared with more people. Thank you. The next step for getting back on track with your wellness goals is flexible commitment. It's time to put a ring on that thing. It's time to commit. Now ask yourself, when you are going into this commitment, do you have a rigid mindset or do you have a flexible mindset? I was previously of the mindset that approaching behavior change, approaching your goals with a more rigid mindset, like being more structured about it, was a really good thing. But I'm starting to see the benefits of being a lot more flexible. So let's say that I want to work out at 7 a.m. Mondays through Fridays. If I had a rigid mindset, if I missed my 7 a.m. workout, I could possibly just scrap the workout altogether and think that I'll just try again the next day. But having a more flexible mindset, if I miss the 7 a.m. workout, I may think, how can I still get in some movement, get in some activity later on today? So you want to think about, are you approaching this very rigidly where it's either all or nothing, plan goes perfect, or you don't do it at all? Or do you have more flexibility where you're able to find backup plan, a way to still get in your behavior even if plan A didn't work out as planned? In terms of committing, I want you to come up with 2 goals for your behavior. I want you to come up with a stretch goal and I want you to come up with a minimum goal. Now, your stretch goal is going to be what you are truly aiming for. It's going to be the goal that you are shooting for. That's going to be just at the edge of your comfort zone. It's not going to be super easy to accomplish. It is going to require you to stretch and to push yourself just a little bit to achieve it, but it's doable. Now, your minimum goal is going to be, what can you comfortably commit to? Like, what's the minimum where if you don't hit your stretch goal, you would still be satisfied if you at least made this minimum goal? Let's take cooking as an example of this. Let's say your stretch goal is to cook 3 times a week instead of eating out. Now, your minimum goal may be, I'm going to cook every Sunday. I'm just going to cook once a week on Sundays, where if I don't hit the 3 times a week, I'm still going to be satisfied hitting the 1 day a week. I found that this really helps with motivation. It can be so frustrating and really discouraging when you don't hit your goals repeatedly week after week after week. And so having this minimum goal helps give you something comfortable to aim for and to fall back on if you don't reach your stretch goal. Sometimes we can set ourselves up for failure when we set a goal that we're not even confident in ourselves that we can even achieve it. Sometimes we set goals that are way out of our league, way out of our abilities, that it's no wonder that we don't reach them because they weren't realistic in the first place. Consider setting a stretch goal and a minimum goal as you move forward. And part of this flexible commitment is creating a backup plan. Life rarely goes as planned. So we need to be creative and also proactive about our goals. As part of your backup plan, I want you to brainstorm a few different options of what you can do if your original plan goes awry, okay? If things go left, what can you still do to make progress towards your goal? I want you to remember this phrase: commit to the behavior, but be flexible in what it looks like. This next step to get back on track with your wellness goals, it's not going to be fun. You're not going to look forward to doing it, but it's going to be helpful. And that's to track your progress. Okay? You have to track your progress, because how are you going to know if you're being more consistent than you were in the past? How will you hold yourself accountable to making the change day in and day out? How are you going to know if you're on track? Okay? Keeping track of how things are going is going to be helpful for holding yourself accountable, for not procrastinating, for building momentum, for seeing progress. Did I already mention that? Is going to be helpful, okay? It's not going to be fun to do, but take a couple seconds out of your day to track your progress. And you can track your progress a multitude of ways. If you're a paper and pen person, you can keep track in your physical calendar or physical planner. If you write a daily to-do list, that's an excellent place to put your new behavior on your list so it's top of mind every day. If you're a digital person, you have so many options of how to keep track. It's not even funny. You can put it in Google Google Calendar or your Outlook calendar. You can use a tool like Asana, Trello, Notion, Todoist. I mean, the list literally goes on. There are apps on your phone you can download to help you keep track of new habits. So choose one that's gonna work for you. You'll simply repeat this 4-step process to refine your goals over time. The app Todoist has been so helpful in keeping my wellness behaviors and habits top of mind and on my to-do list without much effort. If you want to see how I set that up, check out this video next. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Stay true to you.